I had this thought this morning, and it was actually after listening to a motivational speech, and it was very, very enlightening, the whole thing. But there was this one story within that talk about a mother bird and how she was calling for the baby bird to come home. And she kept calling insistently, nonstop, until the bird came home. And what was interesting about that story was that the speaker thought, oh, well, birds just kind of kick the hatchlings when there are not hatchlings, but the birds when they're ready to fly, they kick them out the nest and that's it. It's done. They're off flying and that's the way it is. But that's not the case. They stay and they wait, and then they are a voice on that journey for them to come back home to where they belong once they've flown off and come back again, because they're new. They're still learning to navigate the world around them. And that hit me really, really hard. It was like I wanted to say like a gut punch, but it wasn't that strong, like, oh my gosh. But it was like something that kind of gave me the chills all the way through. Because that's kind of how Source, God, the divine feminine, or whatever it is that you call it, I choose to call God. That's how it is with us. It calls us to our purpose. It calls us to the best plan for us. And it doesn't stop until we heed that call. And so when we feel dis-ease and discomfort in our life, it's because we're being called to do something and we're not necessarily doing what that something is. Doesn't mean that we're not going to be blessed or we're not going to have success on that path that we're on, whether that's financially or with relationships. But it does mean that there will always be kind of this sense of unease, of being out of place, until we realize what it is, and then we latch onto it. It comes to us with an idea, or we see a picture of something, we're like, oh, I want to move there, and I just find it absolutely magnificent that this is how it works, that we weren't just sent here and just, hands washed, you've incarnated into this life, so I'll see you on the other side. We are constantly given direction and guideways to different pathways along our life. And the way I see it is that sometimes there are many paths, and we have the right to choose whatever path we want to. That is a God-given right given to us, the ability to have free will. And but I see it as, sometimes, let's say there's path A, path B, path C, and the one that is for my best interest is path C, for instance. But I really, really want to go on path A. It doesn't mean that on path A things are going to be horrible. It just means that the lessons and the way I will go about living my life on path A will be quite different to how it would have been had I gone with C. And we don't know that right from the beginning a lot of times. It takes a lot of self-reflection, a lot of time, a lot of prayer, meditation to really start to trust our instincts, but then also discern what is like, this is just what I want versus what I could be doing that might be a smoother, better path. And sometimes, for me personally, I like the uphills. And so oftentimes when I choose a path, it's a path that has a lot of uphills and downhills. And it still works out just fine because I always call on my creator to guide me along the pathway. But I really wanted to come on and say that because I know somebody out there needs to hear that. You may have several paths before you, as we all do. And whichever one you choose, as long as you go with a firm faith, things are going to be all right, with a firm faith and calling on your guides and who leads you in your life. And you do it with love. Love of self, love of humanity, love of your family and friends. Unconditional love, which means accepting people for who they are, not and accepting yourself for who you are. Then in the end, it's all going to be just fine. You will learn what you're supposed to learn. You will end up on the path that you're supposed to end up on. And that is my positive message for today. I haven't done a video meditation in a while. I haven't really felt the call to do so, but I will soon. So just wanted to wish you all a happy Sunday. Keep praying and meditating about your paths, and I will see you on the other side.